Okay, so I was actually homeschooled for like an eternity and whatnot for most of my life. But hey, I have good memories of first grade, so let's talk about it. I actually went to this private school rather than public one, and it was like a Christian school. And it was pretty cool. Teachers were cool, and everything was pretty cool. They had chapel on Wednesdays. I think it was Wednesdays anyways. They had like this kind of, I don't know if it was an orphanage or what, but that's cool. Helping the kids and stuff. And generally, everything was pretty cool, I guess. Except for one thing. We're gonna call him... I can't use his real name. We're gonna call him Genos. Yeah. Genos from One Punch Man. And he was a preschooler. Later moved up to kindergarten, but he was a preschooler. And he was like 4. Now, this sounds like pretty irrelevant info, but what you need to understand is I was 6 years old. And I was actually much larger than Genos. But the fact of the matter is, he was still dangerous. This guy is the type of guy who would grow up and join a gang. Jeez, what was that? I dropped my, oh! I felt something scrape my side. I'm recording in the car. It's almost dark out. So that's probably irrelevant information, but what I'm trying to say is Genos was dangerous. He's the type of guy who would join a gang, he beat everybody up. He was just the guy who was just always in timeout, man. Like, if the break times were like 20 minutes long, he was in timeout 15 of those minutes. It was insane. I don't know how he pulled it off. He was a massive Mario nerd. He had horsepower, and then he had bullet power, and then he had horsepower again. I don't know. He had catchphrases. His dad was actually a teacher, now that I think about it, and my older brother is actually under him, and he was actually a pretty cool guy, so I'm actually surprised Genos, such a little punk. Anyways, I know why you're here. You're one to hear stories about me getting my crag beat by this little jerk. Okay, so I used to hold the door for the gym. Basically, after doing, the typical stuff, like waiting in the gym and whatnot, we would go to class after that. And I used to hold the door for the whole school to go through. But Genos didn't like that. So this little jerk actually pinned me against the wall and beat the crud out of me for it. Just being a good guy, man. And one time I stood behind the door and still tried to hold it open, and he still beat me up. Guy was ruthless, man. I'm talking about a preschooler with so much passion, but dang it, he hurt me. I'm sorry. I'm vengeful and petty. I'm sorry. Definitely, though, the most substantial time he beat my hind end was on the playground one day. And Genos, he had done some terrible things, okay? He had pushed me. He picked up my Red Ranger and ran around with it, and I had to chase him, and he dropped it in the wood chips. That should be a crime punishable by life in the corner. That is sin. For a Christian school, they let a lot of stuff slide. You don't throw a man's Red Ranger, okay? So Genos, he's over there doing his own thing, and I'm doing mine. I was a typical target of him, you gotta understand, but this took it to a whole new level. He actually went to the 4th graders, and 4th graders, they're just doing what 4th graders do, say a bad word, pick their nose, and supply him with weapons. They gave this little jerk a pin on a string. I think you can see where this is going. No, he did not try to hang me. He did something far worse. So I'm just standing there, okay? Minding my own business. I turn around. Who do I see besides Genos? He's just charging me, man, with that riff from the Avenged Sevenfold, like Hail to the King playing. It's insane. I start freaking out. I start running the other way, but I'm fat little, 6-year-old. I can't run for my life. This kid, though, is nimble enough to catch up, swings the pin on a string, smacks me in the back, man. It hurt so bad. I screamed, ah! I start crying, and at this point, Miss, she walking up on us, she grabs Genos pulls him away. I'm screaming, crying my eyes out, like the little stinking wuss that I was, and still am. And all this is topped off by the fact that when we went back inside, the whole playground had to go inside early that day. Genos. Everybody probably hated Genos after this, and after all the other BS that he caused. I was actually in there, and I was hiding underneath, the first grade teacher's table. I'm crying. I blocked off some chairs. I don't know what I was thinking, but everyone's consoling me. I got hit in the back with a pin on a string. I'll have you know, I got Indiana Jones'd out there. It hurt. You gotta understand that. It would probably hurt to me now. Well, now I would turn around and body slam this little fool, but back then, I was too much of a baby to do it. But it ends happy. We get a happy ending, guys. This little cretin had actually had to go and get the paddle. Yes, this was how schools are supposed to operate. They got this zero tolerance junk nowadays. No, this little guy got his hind and beat. I hit my mic, and I saw him walking down the hallway later that day with the most. Oh man, I've been caught. Also, his mom was there, and I forget if it was that day or the day after. I don't know. We were in the cafeteria, and we was eating pizza, and that school pizza ain't terrible, And he said, I think it was the cheese was banana peeling. It's stuff inside the peeling. And his mom was just I'm gonna apologize now. Genos was a little cretin. I'm probably saying his actual name 50 times. Yeah, so needless to say, Genos got what he had coming to him. This actually wasn't the only time he got the paddle, I found out. And for the record, the reason I keep talking about the paddle is that was just the pinnacle. That was the death penalty. You had to be such a bad kid to get that. He actually got it twice, from what I know. The other time, he actually flipped the preschool teacher's desk. This man is a rioteer. That is just, I don't know how. He also broke her stapler. He broke so many toys, man. It was sad. But needless to say, after all this, Genos never changed. There's no redemption story, man. This is just like Yagame's. He never changes. He just becomes darker and darker and darker and more cowardly and, evil. Only in Genos' case, he just became more of a little cretin. That was all there was to it. I am way too passionate about this. Thanks for watching. Check out my Patreon, I guess. Thanks. Bye.